Nakasarata Bakasinina Vakasi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sarata Keka Saraninia Maka. It's such an honor to be here one more time. Sarata Veka Saraninia Mesitiaki. And with this beautiful day, there's so many messages that are coming through for the heart. And it's kind of fitting because this morning when I was meditating, I felt the Mother Cacao just saying, hey, just come here for a bit. And so, the heart space, the heart space. Let's just take a deep inhale through the heart. Saradabeka Saraninya Mekasi, and then let's let it go. Saradabeka Saraninya Meka. The heart space is such a powerful portal for us. The heart space is such a powerful portal for us. And then there's a reason why there's so many things out there that say like, you know, this is for the heart, this is to like help you to relieve like some kind of heartache and trauma and things like that. Because as the heart continues to open up, then so do you go back into the remembrance, right? As your heart opens up, then the remembrance opens up again within yourself. And then you continue to move through this earth in this plane, but also accessing many different aspects of yourself that is continuously flying through different kinds of timelines, what we can call timelines, through different kind of dimensions. So the heart is just like this beautiful portal, of course, of transformation, but at the same time, it links you up with many other dimensions. It links you up with many other literally lifetimes that you can really access. So if you were to like see your heart, and this is such a beautiful way that I'm actually seeing it, the heart is like this sphere, right? It's just connects with so many things. It's just like kind of pulsating and pulsating and pulsating. And there's so many links out, like billions, literally billions. And you get to choose. You get to choose what you connect to through the heart space. You get to choose if you wanted to connect with a version of yourself that is already doing that which you desire, because there's a reason why you desire what you desire. Or if you want to connect more with your ancestors, if you want to connect more with like even a past self, really. This is also how the past self sends you information for you to guide them to. Okay, here's this amazing message. There is, have you ever had, you know, one of a moment where you remember a memory that brought up so much, especially in the heart? So many emotions rising up, and really it's almost like you're here present in whatever current reality you're in, and then all of a sudden you have that memory. It takes you back to the emotions of that particular moment and whoever was around you. Is because through the heart space, you know, as your heart continues to expand, and one of those links was open up for a younger version of yourself, the younger version of yourself in a moment of the desire of connectivity with something bigger than itself, was able to connect with you to say, guide me. And it's something that you'd also do to higher versions of yourself whenever you are doing prayers, you know, whenever you're doing meditation. And prayers is really just like a desire to connect, you know. I'm not talking about the religious sense, but in that sense of like, at this moment right now, I need guidance. And I'm asking guidance from any part of the universe, from any part of the dimensions, from any part of my being to connect back to me. And so this is what happens with the heart space. So the heart is really like this pure consciousness that is always there for you. And there are these moments where it feels that it's clogged. It feels that, you know, that really it's broken in a sense, but it's never that your heart is actually broken. I'm talking about the pure consciousness of the essence of the energy of the heart. It's not that it's ever broken or clouded, or just that you can't really see anything past it, that it's not there. It's just the things around the heart space. is what makes it feel that it's tightened, and that in a way it's like, how can I expand out of this, you know? So that there is in a way that energy of yourself, the personal consciousness that in a way gets stuck in the barriers around the heart, believing that those barriers that the self itself put in there for some kind of self-protection, that is the heart space. So of course, you know, the barrier is limited. The barrier is like this thing of like, I don't know, I just don't even want to like get into that, or I don't really want to get to know this space. So then it feels like this, like you're boxed in and boxed in and boxed in, but that's not actually the heart space. And there was something that Cacao was showing me today, you know, that it really said that your heart is so pure. Your heart has always been pure. Even in the moments of heartache, now that you really feel the heartache, even in the moments where you do not like yourself, even in the moments where you sabotage yourself, your heart has always been pure. Because the true essence of the heart is pure consciousness, it's pure divine love, it's unconditional love. And there's nothing that can take that away. There's literally nothing that can take her away, but there also can be that playing role, again, of the barriers around it, that somebody put it there because he felt that it wasn't worthy of love. He felt that it wasn't just worthy in general to receive anything, to love, to be loved, to be accepted, you know, to celebrate its life. So whenever we come into the heart space, you know, remember that if you feel that constriction of like there's nothing there in a way, or like that part of yourself that feels like you cannot breathe because it hurts so much. So it's not that the heart space it's not that your heart is actually hurting. What in a way is showing you that there's some kind of pain is because you're penetrating through that barrier. Wow. Let's say this again, you know, it's not that the heart itself is hurting, but what the hurt is coming from is because you're penetrating that barrier that you have built around the heart space for what we can call protection, you know, survival mode. Especially if in your younger years, you know, you had these moments where you just had to survive. And I'm not really talking about like, you know, maybe you didn't have money, but maybe in the emotions kind of way, you know, that it's just like, especially in depression, you know, that you just like, you have to survive every single second, every single minute, every single hour, every single day. So then, you know, there comes this mechanism, because this is how intelligent your system is. This is why I love these things, because it loves you. So it is just like, how can I protect you at this moment in time? So you feel that you need this kind of protection. So let's build this around, you know, because right now love is too much. You see what it does? Like right now, especially when somebody's depressed, it's like it really feels worthless, you know. It's like, don't even be around me, touch is too much, like love is too much. And it might actually take you deeper into the depression if that is the case, you know, not all the time, but it could be. And so then the system goes like, okay, let me put something around you, some kind of barrier, so you feel a little more safe in you, a little bit more safe in your darkness. It is that barrier through which you access your beautiful, beautiful darkness. And especially, you know, going through a depression is definitely, I'm not taking away the fact that it's completely difficult, and I know this from like firsthand, you know, but it is through that depression and walking through that darkness, as you continue to penetrate the barriers that you have thought that it was your heart, you know, that it was so dark, that it was so broken, that it wasn't worthy, that it was just like messed up in a way. You are literally penetrating every single time as you walk through this darkness to get really deep into the part of the pure essence of your heart. The pure essence of your heart, the pure consciousness of it, the divine love. So there's a reason why at times when we are like in this like really dark space, and sometimes we have those little glimpses of like divine love, divine inspiration, like I shouldn't be here, you know, or like I'm not meant to stay here much longer. And at times we can use that inspiration to get out of the space, or that freaks us out a little bit more. But that tiny inspiration comes because of the penetration through the barrier around the heart, that it opened up this beautiful channel for you to actually feel it, for you to actually be like, wow, that's in there. And again, if you have been, or even not right now, but in your previous years, if you have been so used to a life where you're completely sabotaging yourself and just not really loving yourself or appreciating yourself and the people around you, your life in general, you might have those kind of glimpses and be like, oh my god, that's so weird, like, no, I shouldn't even be like that, live like that. I've had those instances so much in my life that I was like, ooh, that feels so weird, but I'm not supposed to feel this way. I'm supposed to like feel bad about myself. There's so many conditions and programmings that go in the human mind, because that's how our society has lived for a really long time. So number one thing is patience, Number one thing is patience, but at the same time, compassion. And knowing when you have those glimpses, it's because your heart is telling you, I got you. It's because your heart is sending you this pure divine love, this pure consciousness that said, this is also you. This is also you, and we can actually do this. You can actually do this. So then, little by little, as you continue to penetrate through the dark barrier, through your own darkness, to get back into the pure essence of your heart, then the heart continues to shine even more. And this is where the connectors to other parts of other dimensions and other parts of yourself begin to light up. It's not that they were ever gone, but again, as you put that protection around the heart space, and again, I'm talking about the pure consciousness of the heart, as you put those barriers around the pure consciousness of the heart, those connectors in a way got clogged by that energy, because the heart itself is saying, like, right now is not really the time. Right now this person needs to be in. Right now this person needs to feel like it's loved by its own shadow, but it is loved by something. Love will be too much. So when you have those kind of inspirations is when those links begin to light up again. And this is where a higher version of yourself, of what we call angels and deities, come through. And it's like, okay, here you go, you're sending the signals out there. The heart itself is sending those signals out there because you're ready to experience a deeper part of yourself. You're ready to really realize that you're a multidimensional being, and this is not just your only dimension. It is through the heart that we can connect to all of those things. And it's as simple when those connectors, and again, there's billions, it's just literally like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing, like, I almost said porcupine, but no, there is this like, oh my god, that I'm seeing it. It's from the ocean, but I forgot the name. It's like this little circle that is, I think it's actually called unagi when you eat it in sushi, but it's this like super small circle that has like so many like spiky things, right? So it's like something like this at the heart. Is it just like in a bigger sense, in a way? So those things, there are just like so many of them, begin to light up. Through that is where another part, oh my god, this is so amazing, another part of the heart of the universe is activating itself, because you are the universe. So then it's like, oh shit, I'm ready for this. And so then those links begin to like click, and this is where you experience something bigger than you, because at the beginning it's all about your personal consciousness, your personal journey, and how can you maneuver through that space. The survival mode, there's a lot of that survival mode right there, and going back into loving yourself, going back into accepting yourself. And by accepting yourself, it's not just like what's happening right now, but everything that happened in your life that at times can be very challenging, depending on what you went through, in your history and in the history of your ancestors. It can also go back, and it really does, into the history of humanity itself. But so that is your access point. Oh my gosh, this is amazing, you guys. What I'm seeing is like, okay. So that is your access point, your personal story, your personal journey to get it into like the story of all that is, and that is where it begins to connect to different parts of the universe, to connect you with different dimensions, to connect you with different beings, because it's not that we're separate, right? It's not that we're separate, but how can some people are able to hear so many messages and see so many things and others cannot? It is not that one is more gifted than the other one, it's just like that pure love of the heart space, the pure consciousness was able to come through, was able to channel through that being, because of course it did its work, and totally I know that like the work at times is just like almost like sometimes there's like time out, let me breathe a little bit, but it's there. The pure consciousness of your heart is always there. It's never been broken. You have never been broken. If we want to expand that out into your entire system, because this is what I'm seeing right now, is that it happens like very similar as in putting those barriers and believing that you are those barriers, believing that the barriers that feel dark and broken and shitty and all those kinds of things, like that is you, but in reality it's not you. It is a defense mechanism out of divine love for your own self, because you did not feel safe in some kind of instance in your life. So therefore those things were put around, so then when you feel safe within yourself in the personal consciousness, then you can begin to penetrate through that, and eventually those things will dissolve, and you will learn how to in a way protect yourself, or how to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. That's why at times, like you might feel like a really deep connection with somebody else, and at times somebody walks past you and you're like, I like you stay in your side and I stay here, because then you already are tuning in into the divine essence of the consciousness of your heart, which is super transformational. But again, like those play things in the mind, those conditions, those programmings that we're not good enough, or that like we're not powerful enough, or that we're just human beings, like those things must be released out of your system as an integrated, and you integrate that through the heart as you love that, as you accept it. The more acceptance there is of your own reality, of your own personal journey, the more you can penetrate through those barriers that you have built around the heart and around your entire being, for you to go back into that pure consciousness, for you to go back into experience the universe within yourself. And we all experience that in some kind of way, and maybe different, there's still just like, there's no words. Like, how can you put that into words? But there's sensations, right? That's why sometimes if you have met already your tribe, you can just look at each other and just have the most divine conversation without even words. Or you can have this beautiful hug to your soul sister, your soul brother, and just be there for a minute. No words, just like it is there, because that is, the activation of the heart within the personal being, and connecting with the other heart of the other being, which also ignites the space within your heart and connects you deeper with the heart of the universe. And then there's more expansion, and there's more connectors that open up, And then you can continue to hear these things. You can continue to know many things without really knowing how you know. You just know. But it's all through the heart. And it's you. It's already inside of you. It's part of you. It's part of you. It's just, again, in a way we've been kind of tricked. That's kind of like a funky word of putting it, but at times I felt like that. We've been kind of tricked, and not like, of course your family, and I understand as well, and my family has done the best that they could, because with their own awareness, and their own tools, but kind of like steering us away from what it is to be our truth. Your truth might feel so different than mine at this moment in time. Maybe they will have some kind of moments where we like come together, and maybe we'll continue to experience different things that for us feels so true, and for others it doesn't. And that's okay, because what matters the most is you and your own space, and you feeling safe within yourself. You feeling safe within yourself, the inner world. How does your inner world feel like? Is there chaos in your inner world? If it seems to be that there's so much chaos in your inner world, you're tuning in into those barriers around your being and the barriers around the heart space. You're not really tuning in deeper, you know? So again, going back into the full acceptance of your own journey. It is that through which so much healing actually happens. The full acceptance, you know? That doesn't mean that you completely invalidate what happened to you. If somebody harmed you, if you harm somebody else, yes, there's emotions that are there, and for sure, you know, things are not very easy at all at times being a human, you know. I totally like tell my boyfriend at times, my gosh, this human thing, because it's challenging at times. But it's through the challenges that we can learn so much, and especially tune back into what your truth is. What is your truth? What is your heart guiding you to do or not to do or stop doing? What is your heart telling you to say? What is your heart telling you, period? Because your heart might be telling you something that doesn't even resonate with somebody else, and that's okay. But you're honoring that space, because when the heart one more time tells you something, it's because the barriers around the heart were either, again, penetrated or so thin enough that you can actually listen to the wisdom of your heart. And so the wisdom of the heart connects again to the heart of the universe, but it connects to the space of the Mother Earth. And through that, there's so many teachings that come through. Teachings of your own ancestors. Teachings of, like, you know, if you're having a female experience, of the wisdom of the female. If you're having a male experience, of the wisdom and the strength of the male. And also, you know, once you pass through that journey, then the wisdom of the other one. Because again, like, that's part of us, you know, the female and the male. Whether we're having a male or female experience. But then we have to have this access point through something. And the access point is through those dark spaces within you. The dark spaces that we've been told that they're not good. The dark spaces that we've been taught to stay away from, you know? I don't know if as a kid, you know, you had to like fall asleep with the lamp on. I was completely afraid of the darkness as a kid. And so I had to fall asleep with my lamp on, and my mom would come to my room and turn it off whenever I'll fall asleep. But I couldn't, you know, because there are this like, in, you know, in this book, like Women That Run with Wolves, it actually talks about one of the stories, and I'm not even sure if this is part of like the North Americas, you know, like the English speaking countries, but in Spanish, you know, there's this thing called the cuco that is like under your bed, and like it's there, and it tries to eat you or something, you know. So like for the longest time I was so scared to look under my bed, because that was like the dark area that would like take me away in all these things, you know. And so there's so many things that we again been like taught, or we just watched, or like programmed or whatever, and we have to accept that that's how life is. We have to accept that we choose to come to have this kind of experience, and something comes into our being because that's what we chose to do, you know. We chose to come here to break some kind of code, some kind of programming, and to be happy. And to be happy. How could you be happy if you don't love yourself? How could you be happy if you believe that your heart is broken? How can you be happy if you believe that you are broken? You know? And maybe some people can find some kind of happiness in that. I mean, I couldn't. And even the people that I work with couldn't either. Because there's something that is guiding us, which is the heart. You know, again, the heart is continuously pulsating and sending all this energy, saying like, yo, I truly love you and I got you. If you just pay attention in those moments where you feel like you're suffering, in those moments when you feel like the crappiest little thing in the world, something has your back, and that something is your heart, that something is the Mother Earth, that something is the heart of the universe, that something is life itself, which is you, which is you. You are the one doing all these things. And I know at the beginning it could just like feel like a concept, like it's like, yeah, I hear all these things, and until you actually have your own experience, then it becomes your truth and your own wisdom. But how can you really go back into that space if you don't travel through the darkness? If you don't travel through the darkness, if you say like, whatever, I'm just gonna stay there, and I'm gonna be in this cycle that I might feel like, uncomfortable and frustrated and whatever, anger. It's your choice, right? It's your choice. But I truly believe that in this space, especially, when you connect with me, that there's something else guiding you, that there's something bigger than you guiding you. Than you, what I mean is the personal consciousness, There's something bigger guiding you. And there's a reason why you search for teachers. There's a reason why you search for healers. There's a reason why you look up about astrology, and maybe you have like different kinds of decks, because there's something that is telling you you're not just this personal experience, and there's something bigger than you connecting with you at this moment in time, at any given moment in time. Like your gifts. Your gifts are always there. They have always been there. But like we have to like get out of the space over those barriers around the heart in order to tune into the heart. Your heart is such a massive portal, just like you. Such a massive portal through which all these teachings that have ever existed in this planet and the universe come through. This is how you can connect again with your ancestors and everything that they did, whether it's in wrong or bad, Like perhaps you are the one person in your family that chose to release all these karmatic ties, to release all these things from that lineage, so whoever comes after you will have a healthier life than you did. I know for sure that's my journey, and that has been my journey in my life. And I'm grateful, I'm grateful that I went through all the Kundalini psychoses and to tune into all the crap that was done in the land that I was born. And it made me stronger and to have more compassion for all of those to suffer and be able to connect deeper to other people. Because in my experience, I understand very deep pain. I understand a very intense anger. I understand a very intense suffering, depression, suicidal thoughts, like self-sabotage, because I did that all to myself, And I was very deep on that barriers around like my heart space and my being, super believing that that was me, that I was crappy, that I was not good enough, that like I didn't deserve many things. And I stayed there for a really long time. Like probably in my late 20s. I'm 36 right now. Until there was this like something passed through, and it was this question, or like it was a question, because it said there's got to be something else, in life than suffering. Through that phrase that I see it as a question, as an inquiry, I was able to go back into my heart. And it's a continuous journey, you guys. It's a continuous journey. It's not that it's going to happen like this, You might really have glimpses like this, especially if you have like a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. But then it becomes like this wonderful journey. What does this spontaneous happen? Like the spontaneity of the awakening process, for you to know that there's something bigger out there, For you to like have that feeling, and it's no longer a concept anymore, that the greatest things about life that all these masters talk about in a very poetic way, it's actually real for you. And so then the journey happens, the journey of the hero, that is like, okay, how do I go back to that, without any substances? Because I know that's real. If I felt it once, I can feel it again for the rest of my life. And that is the beauty of the journey. Because then again, you connect so much. And it's not that your heart is the only portal, you have so many portals, right? The womb, the hara, but like the portal of the heart is very important, because that's where the lower triangle and the upper triangle, the lower and upper chakras meet at the heart space. When we reach the heart space, you are not more in the animal instinct of survival all the time, as you had been before, or maybe other people in your lineage had been before. So then begins to connect more with the upper chakras, that is all about, higher dimensions, not just this current existence. It's so beautiful, and you're so beautiful, and you're so powerful. So again, when you go back into feeling those sensations, let me take a moment. I did see all your messages, by the way, but like the messages were like, so it's like, okay, let's deliver these messages. Hi, beautiful. Yeah, I'm so glad you're all here, and I'm so grateful for all of you too. I'm so grateful for all of you. There's again, like, when these transmissions happened, there's a really deep activation that is happening in the heart, and it's happening in all of your being, because it's a remembrance of who you are, a remembrance of your journey, a remembrance of life itself, that it's you. And this is why, people in my position do these kinds of things. And I'm sure you do so too in your own way. It's not just about putting a live video and like sharing messages, There's also different ways of doing that. Just when you have like a conversation with somebody and you're just holding space in your own kind of way, and you're letting them know you're seen, you're witnessed, you're loved, like all of you is welcome. Yeah. Exactly, your inner stand. So again, that remembrance, that remembering, okay, that when you feel those emotions or those sensations that your heart is broken, that you are broken, that you're not good enough, and all those kinds of things, it really is an access point to go back into the heart. So when you follow those emotions, and what I mean about that is that you feel them and you let them pass through you. Again, it's not about suffering. It's not about punishing yourself and just feeling that over and over and over again. So be mindful of that, but really using that as the access point to penetrate through the barriers of the heart, to go back into that space and say, I am whole, I am complete, and I am powerful, and I am loved. And connect, Again, the prayer is so beautiful. I was just reading about this. The prayer is so beautiful and so powerful. And you can actually, like, whenever you are in those moments and you connect with your heart, you can actually call upon a higher version of yourself and just say, I need your assistance. Please come in. And you'll see, it does happen. It's so beautiful that it does happen when your prayer is answered, and it's always answered. Oh my gosh, it's always answered. It's so beautiful. When that has happened to me, I just be like again, going back into like the magic of life. And this is why I do what I do. One of the reasons why I do what I do, because life can be very magical if you let it be. And it will surprise you in many different ways that it's just like, wow. Wow, how do I share this with others? How do I guide others to have this kind of experiences? Because I'm not the only one. I am not different than you at all. I am not different than you at all. I might be in this kind of journey a little bit longer. That doesn't mean that you cannot get there. And this is also why this is happening. To see the mirror in me of you. That power that passes through me is also the power that passes through you. And so, like, would you accept it? And if it's a yes, it's coming. It's been coming. And it's all about literally accepting. Accepting you, accepting your gifts, accepting and receiving, So if you've been given so much, give your space that of receiving. It's time to receive. It's time to receive yourself back. It's time to receive your gifts. It's time to receive your community, your tribe, and most importantly, you, your own love, your own heart, your own power, and get to know you, the real you. Know the ones that, like, how you were guided to be as a kid or as a teenager or as a young adult, just you. and experience your life how you want to experience your life. Even if people tell you that's so stupid, it might be stupid for somebody else, but it's not stupid for you because you feel it and you know it's like your own being telling you like, oh my gosh, like there's something here. I mean, honestly, like there were many funky things that my family told me about my own work. And I've shared this before, that like it took like something very intense to happen to my beautiful little niece for them to believe in my work. It doesn't need to get to that extreme. But the point here is that it doesn't matter what people are telling you to do. If somebody's giving you an advice and you feel it, you do it, right? But if you don't feel it, it doesn't even matter. It's not their life, it's your life. And your life, first and foremost, is the most important one here. You begin with loving yourself. We begin with honoring yourself, with respecting yourself, tuning into you, getting to know you. So then you can share who you are with the rest of the world. And that itself is again part of the awakening process. Remembering each other, remembering the self. So then it becomes a ripple effect into the planet. If we were all doing that, goodness, there wouldn't be so wars and so much distractions or so much tension in the world. Imagine how the world would be like if we all actually loved ourselves. Because when you love yourself, like, there's no, like, you know, the other person is also you. Like, you feel it. And, like, if you harm somebody else, you are harming you. And it's just like, no. Even at times, this might sound like really silly, but let me share this with you. Even at times when I'm making like cacao or like hot chocolate and I put a little bit more in my cup than my boyfriend's, I'm like, no, that's not equality. So my brain goes like, okay, let's make it equal, you know, like it goes to that, you know. This is just like some kind of example to let you know, like, equality. You love yourself, you honor everybody else, and it doesn't mean that you always do it perfectly, you know. Like, things happen, releases happen, and that's just like honoring where you are and knowing that where you are you're meant to be, and period. And again, taking care of you, and then going back into that beautiful heart. Holy smokes, do you guys feel that energy in the heart? Because my heart, it just feels like I have to think like Mami Cacao. And this is like the beautiful thing, you know, when you're so open in a very wise way anyway, you feel those messages from the plants, you feel the messages from the mother. And especially, you know, if you have that like sensation of like, I just have to go to the park and hug this tree, that's like nature connecting with you. There's a part of Mother Earth that's saying, come, I have a message for you. And the more you listen to that, the more again you tune back in into your pure essence, the consciousness of the heart, and going back into that remembrance and experiencing the magic of life. The magic of life. The rose tea, Amilde. So I'm working with Amilde, and one of the things that we're doing is to work with plants. And she has some rose tea, which, by the way, honestly, whenever you have some kind of like really deep and challenging release, it's so beautiful to tune in with the medicine of rose petals. Make sure that it's organic because you're making a tea and you're ingesting that, and like, yeah, the spirit of the plant is so beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Amilde. So happy for you. Good. You guys, what a beautiful time to be alive. In this, you know, in this challenging moments of life too, whatever you are in the world, I feel that maybe I shouldn't say this, but like maybe there's always, you know, some kind of challenge for us to continue to grow and to have that, to be able to choose, you know. You want to give your energy to this, or you want to give your energy to this, and then just going for it, just really, really going for it, and making the change in your life that is necessary, making the change in your life that is necessary for you, not for anybody else, for you, and then see how that comes back. There's this message that is coming through about the inner world. You know, again, going back into how does the inner world feel like for you? Here's an inquiry if you like to dive deeper into this. How does your inner world feels like for you? And remembering if it feels that there's still some kind of chaos, you're tuning in into those little barriers around your being and the heart. And can you really access through those barriers to get deeper into feeling the communion of your inner world and the peace and the love of it? Because the inner world is not destructive. The inner world is not broken. Your inner world is always at ease, at peace, in love with itself. So if you feel that, you're just tuning in into the barriers, you know, and just give yourself the opportunity to experience something bigger than you, to break through, you know, break through. And there is the full moon, I think it's kind of like 2 weeks from now, a little bit, on the 16th, you know, it's time to like shed and celebrate the shedding, you know. The shedding is the integration. Celebrate that and going back into like, yeah, this is who I am, not the destructive part, you know. That's just like an aspect of you, but like go dive deeper into that and feel that and welcome it and say, I'm ready for you, because it's been ready for you all along anyway. And if you like to journey with me in a sound healing, you know, I'm having an online sound healing event on the full moon day at 6 p.m. US Central Time. And Inner Dance is, I actually posted a video about it, of how my body moves in it. Because the more, again, that you surrender, to your own experience, the easier it is that you move through those barriers and go deeper into that. When you go deeper into the heart space, that is where you begin to tune in one more time through all your ancestors, through all your gifts, through like the history of your land, the land where you were born or the land where you are in, and also our story. And our story has something so powerful stored for each of us. And that is, in a way, the gateway to work with your gifts. It's beyond fascinating. You are beyond fascinating. You are so magical. It's just ridiculous in a really good way. You know, when I say ridiculous, I'm just like, a lot of times when I'm working with somebody, or when I'm just like looking at my being, I'm just like, oh, holy smokes, we're just like, we're so powerful. So, I love you all. Thank you. Yay, Emilde. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for contributing into the shift of consciousness. Thank you for saying yes to yourself over and over and over again. Even when you feel that you're not saying yes to you, there's something inside of you that says yes, by the way. So, oh goodness, yeah. I released a podcast yesterday about the cracking phase of the awakening process, which to me is like the most fascinating part of it anyway. And I also put a little video, you know, of like what the cracking in me in the neck, and it's just really fascinating to witness a physical body coming back alive, because that's really what it is, and the intelligence of the body as it's moving through space and releasing some kind of tension and some kind of, in a way, trauma, to be able to tune in back into itself. So check it out, you know, it's the link, it's in my bio, and listen to it. It's also in YouTube, on which is actually really funny. I invite you to watch the video, because even through in the video of the podcast, you can see my neck doing all those things, and it's quite entertaining. I find it entertaining anyway. So yeah, it's something that I wasn't really aware of when it first happened, and I was like, what in the world is going on? But then, you know, like the more I just surrendered to it, I learned that it was part of the process. Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for tuning in. And so, yeah, check it out, you know, and see if that resonates with you. Maybe you are in that kind of part of the process. Who knows? And if you are, let me know. I love talking about these things. Okay. Oh my gosh, I know, Amilde. Hi, sweetheart. So, anyways, I love you. And keep it up. Know that you're so supported. Know that you're deeply loved. Know that like everything that you need, you already have. You can always access to that. If there's any guidance I can support you with, send me a message. If not, I know that we're still in touch anyway, some kind of way or another. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Ciao, peace.